I didn't want it to go this way. I don't know what else I can say. Turns out at the end of the day, way too little too late. I didn't want it to go this way. I don't know what else I can say. Turns out at the end of the day, way too little too late. Way too little too late. Way too little too late. Yeah, crap foundations, too many weak links in chains. And if something don't add up, then I won't mess round, I'll take it away. I guess some things just don't change. Way too little too late. I took my time with it, now I'm starting it. I see the future I want, I'm carving it. Last year man I watched from a distance, but this year I'm taking charge of it. And I'm done with thinking small, yeah. Right now man I'm going in large a bit. And I've adjusted my size to a new height, yeah. Now I can see clear where the target is. I'm always jumping to conclusions before I'm ever looking into the facts. And I get way too caught in a moment and say dumb shit that I can't take back. And I've never been good with emotion, I just don't know how to react. So I act like everything's okay, but then I push them thoughts to the back and I'm trying to put food on my plate, but it turns out that they want to keep that empty. I'm trying to make this dream come true, man, you're a dickhead if I meet you resent me. I got an ego that's way too big and a lot of these guys still think they offend me. I don't care about making new friends, not trust me man, I got plenty. I didn't want it to go this way, I don't really know what else I can say. Turns out at the end of the day, way too little too late. I didn't want it to go this way, I don't really know what else I can say. Turns out at the end of the day, way too little too late. Nah, way too little too late. Way too little too late. Too many crap foundations, too many weak links in chains. If something don't add up, then I won't mess round, I'll take it away. I guess some things just don't change. Way too little too late. Script back into the drawer. Right now, yeah, I'm done with the drama. When they ask what I'm gonna do next, when I say man, I leave it to karma. Right now man, I'm thinking larger. I know life's so cause and effect, so I make sure no matter how it turns out that I always give back more than I get. Man, I've been pushed out and I've been set back. Yeah, I've lost things that I never get back. I realise that you can't please everybody else, and I guess that I've learned to accept that. Yeah, life gets hard and I get that. Everybody's different, I respect that. Sometimes man, I just feel so lost and I don't really know where my head's at. I didn't want it to go this way, I don't know what else I can say. Turns out at the end of the day, way too little too late. I didn't want it to go this way, I don't know what else I can say. I guess some things just don't change. Way too little too late.
Yeah, we're live and direct. This is EMW TV presenting Fuego Radio with Larynx Entertainment's very own Dave Acton. So thanks for joining us. Over to the Fuego Radio lads to do the proper introductions and get this thing kicking off, and I'll check out the chat.
All right, safe Dave. Thanks for joining us. I reckon the most obvious place to start would be just give people who don't know a quick rundown of what Larynx Entertainment is, how you started, and what you've done and what you plan on doing.
Yeah, so basically we started as a collective of just artists, hip-hop artists in Wrexham, North Wales. Started because there wasn't really anything for rappers or anything of the sort in Wrexham. We started from a spoken word night called Voice Box, which one of the lads that helped me run Larynx, Tim Humphreys-Jones, he was running Voice Box at the time, and towards like the back end of 2015, early 2016, there were like a lot of rappers coming through and doing just like a couple of songs here and there, and we were like, there's space to try and make something happen for all of us. So just sort of like banded together as a collective called the Larynx at the time. And then a couple of years passed, we'd done stages at Focus Wales and Wrexfest and stuff. We actually headlined Focus Wales in 2018 as Spit Bucket. We had a group inside of the collective called Spit Bucket, which was myself, Lucid, Double Barreled, Tim, and Skinny Bill, as well as some person on the production as well. And that was sick, it was a brilliant time trying to, get our name out there and what have you. Craze the Jack was on the same billing as well. That was one of our first, there's other people in Wales that do rap. And Minas was on there as well, actually, because we started. And yeah, it sort of like discussions took place from there about where we were heading in terms of like the collective, and it wasn't necessarily working. Like I love all of those guys, you know, for what they brought to the table, but as a collective, I just don't think it worked. So we sort of looked at it, and myself and Pete Rogers, who runs Larynx with me, he's the co-director. Yeah, we were just talking about what we can do, and we were looking at other media platforms like SBTV, Grind Daily, and all that. And we were like, oh, you know, let's create one that'll just encompass Wales and just all of. So we started like the research and what have you into like all the acts and what have you, and we were like blown away that like so much doesn't get coverage. I think like some of the first that we came into, like say Crazed Jack was one of the first that we sort of knew of. Bobby Rex, battle rapper, had shared Luke's In My Mind freestyle on the UK Battle Rap forum. I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy's like really good. And yeah, just from there, we just sort of went like, you know, let's do this media platform. And then I think Focus Wales was in the May, and we had Rex Fest in July, August, and we'd completely switched what we actually were. We'd gone from just a collective to this media platform. And I think by the December of 2018, we became like an official business, like got registered and all that. And yeah, it's just been, you know, just been keeping up with everyone's releases and whatnot in the meantime, trying to put on events. Obviously, we can't do that at the moment. Well, we're planning to do some towards the end of the year and whatnot. But yeah, that's it. That in a nutshell.
Yeah. No, it's wicked.
I should say, really, the first like knowledge of like any other rapper in Wales was actually Zubat.
Really?
Yeah.
He's from North Wales, isn't he?
Well, Tim had brought him to Voicebox a couple of times, but I don't think. I don't think it was ever like talked about like a rap scene in Wales. You know, we'd had conversations, but like it was never talked about as a whole thing. Like an actual scene existed in Wales. Like, and like Zubat's just insane. Like. I can imagine he can do pretty much anything he puts his mind to. Like Tim is an absolute, like Tim's a stan of Zubat.
Yeah,
Tim's an absolute stan of Zubat.
I remember those videos actually. There's loads of videos from Voicebox of Zubat doing poetry on YouTube, and they're criminally underviewed. But I know Zubat's not like, he's very kind of picky about his poetry. Like if you like put up a video, he's like, oh, it's not that good or whatever. But there's loads of them from Voicebox on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doing poems.
He shouldn't be like picky about them at all, because like they're all quality. Like
he's very picky.
I'm yet to find anything bad out of Zubat. Like it's just how it is. I mean, you know, you can pretty much do anything. It's a standard.
Yeah.
He was annoyed before because I filmed him in the studio. He was like practicing before going on the mic, and he was just rapping. It was just so crazy, and I just filmed him. I put it up. Everyone was like, "This is fucking mental." And he's literally just lotus position on the floor, like. He's like, "This is me quietly performing, and it's whack." He's like raging. I put it up. Everyone's like, absolutely fucking.
He's a proper perfectionist. For sure.
And often the thing, isn't it? You know, some of the best ones are often the ones that are. You know,
hard on themselves.
Got some shout outs already. So like big up Dell, Cameron Scott, Tom Risticks, Kofi Taylor saying shout out Larynx Entertainment, man, big love from the SKL entertainment team. Big up Unity. Unity's going to be jumping on the stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. And she's saying Zubat is sick. Seems like we're talking about Zubat in every single one we do nowadays. So.
We've got to talk about him, because there's no way Zubat will get on one of these. So we've got to keep him in the conversation somehow.
Say whatever you want. He doesn't really come online. He definitely won't watch one of these. He said no when I asked him to do one of these, and he's been on the label from the start. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's like a myth. He's like a mythological.
Yeah.
Like he's unreal.
Man, the myth. So when did pre kind of Larynx and everything? At what point did you kind of start getting into music or kind of hip hop as on a personal level, would you say?
So I remember being in Tenby on like a family holiday, because like we never went abroad when I was younger or whatever. It was always like we'd go to these like holiday parks. It was like Skegness and stuff like that. And we were in Tenby, and we were in the car, and Purple Hills came on, and I was just like, "What is this? What is this?" Because like the funny thing about you lot asking me about my favorite Spice Girl, prior to like finding hip hop and what have you, I was like mad into R&B, like that was my thing, Usher and all that shit. And then when I was younger, like 7, 8, 9, Backstreet Boys were like the best thing ever.
I used to stuck with Backstreet Boys as well.
Yeah, and like Aaron Carter and all that jazz, like absolutely phenomenal. Not anymore, obviously. But yeah, that was like the starting point. And I would have been about, when was Purple? 2001, so I would have been like 10. And then like, I remember finding Marshall Mathers LP in the bedroom. It sounds like really cliche, but like Marshall Mathers LP of me brothers in the bedroom, listened to that, heard Kim for the first time, and was like, oh my God, what's this? Turned it off, and but then I just developed this sort of affinity with it, and like I'd research it all. I'd be on like all the forums and just eating up everything that sort of came out. More commercial stuff at that point. It wasn't until I met Tim in like 2011 that I started to sort of broaden my horizon, because he was telling me about all these UK hip hop acts like Akala and Scroobius Pip, and I was like, who are these people? And then started to listen to them, and I was like, oh, fair dues, like, it's really good over here as well. And then I sort of got into writing myself like around like 14, 15, but I'm like one of these ones that has never capitalized on it in the slightest. It's only like later on in life, like say we formed the collective in 2016 and we did bits then. I've got an awful EP out on Bandcamp. I don't even think it's still there.
Plug them.
No,
Where can they find that shit, son?
It was called The Draft. The Draft EP.
Hating on it before it even come out, naming it The Draft.
It's absolute garbage. I hate it. And then like I've done bits in between, like a couple of verses here and there, and then I dropped Blue last year, which
good shit.
Relentlessly promoting because it's all I've got. I get like really bad periods of like writer's block. I'll write like one good 64 or something, and then nothing for like months, and then like I'm planning to drop a project this year, but like I've got ideas and little bits here and there written down, but like nothing substantial yet. So fingers crossed, we'll have another project this year. But yeah, I can't get out of this block at the moment.
You should set aside some like blocks of time here and there, innit? Like just like an hour a day or something, and just say like I'm not leaving, even if it's shite what I write. Like treat it like a fucking labouring job or something. You know what I mean? Even if it's shite what I write, I'm gonna force myself to do an hour every day, and then like how much you get out eventually, even though you like crap.
Yeah, like I don't know. Sometimes I do. I like a bath, and I'll spend a good hour in the bath, and I'll be like, oh, I'll jot stuff down now, but it just all comes out shite. So like I never go back to it. And like I rarely sort of get time to sort of sit down and do anything like myself anymore. And that sounds like really selfish, like I'm working all the time, blah blah, but like I'm not necessarily working all the time, but I've constantly got my head elsewhere. Like I'm either like today I'm off work, all I've done is like browse the socials and try and see if I've missed anything that's been released. I've got another meeting after this interview, so like I've got to sort of prepare for that. and then I've got a day job as well. Like, so like that I work really awful hours at. So like I'm constantly. I really want to quit my day job. I really like. I can't be bothered with it anymore. And
what do you do?
Like, I work in a Lidl. I work as a shift manager in Lidl, and like my hours are like all over the place. And like I really don't want to do it anymore. I absolutely hate it. But like, you know, kids, partner, house, all that shit. You know, I could have sort of dropped that load on Maria. That sounds suspect. But,
We've got more shout outs. So we've got big up Boofy. He's tuned in on the Winger Records. Jay Reed, Tim Eddie, Humphreys Jones, and Stuart Rass Crichton's chatting something about butt plugs. I don't really know what he's talking about.
Dave, you still on for this giveaway, yeah, Dave?
Yeah.
So just to let everyone know.
So
Dave,
if you ask a decent enough question in the chat, we'll chuck you a Larynx tee. Your choice of colour, black or white. And the Winger lads will decide who has the best question.
Is it on us? Yeah, Jesus. All right.
Drop your questions. Maybe at the end, Harry, you can give us what you think is the 3 best ones, and then we'll fucking decide.
What I decide?
Well, you pick the 3, and then we'll all decide which one wins.
Yeah.
Like the 3 finalists.
Big up Kenny Cadence. Big up Jaffa. Big up Owen O'Davis. We've got loads of people tuned in, guys. So yeah, big up. Drop your questions in the chat, and
we've got a question come through actually. So it's Coffee or Kofi, however I pronounce that.
Kofi.
Saying he remembers you putting on the Lunar Sea gig and what it was like working with Lunar Sea and putting on that event up in Wrexham.
It was surreal, man. Like, we wanted to do something to like proper, like, you know, try and establish us as a platform, and we wanted to make sure that the Welsh artists were incorporated into that. We think about it like how it looks on a CV, or I've supported Lunacy, or, you know, anything like that. So we'd just sort of gotten in touch, and I was in France on like a family holiday when they agreed to it and sent me over all the paperwork to get signed within like 24 hours or whatever it was. And I was like, no, like I'm walking around this big castle like thing, like, you know, on this family day out, and I've got to sort of make this happen. So anyway, got that sorted. And then the gig itself was ridiculous. Luna had like loads of travel issues getting to the gig. So I think he turned up about 20 minutes before his actual performance, which was like, we had a discussion afterwards, and he was like, he was gutted because he really wanted to see. He didn't know that anyone in the area performed hip hop or anything like that. So he like really wanted to see. But then he had conversations with everyone after about all their work and whatnot, which was great. And then just afterwards was just surreal, like, because like I'm a Luna fan, like I'm a massive battle rap fan, and like Luna was, you know, one of the ones that I imagine the majority of us saw like first, you know, apart from like Blizzard and Mark Grist, for the UK scene.
I got to chime in there. I fucking knew battle rappers way before them guys.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. It was just my first.
Yeah. They definitely were like a bit of a peak for like a mass fucking audience on it. Definitely.
Yeah. You know, it was the viral wave, wasn't it? It was, you know, it was the first insight that I'd had into it, and then obviously like knowing the history of it now, it's ridiculous. Especially going back to like stuff like the WRCs and stuff like that. Absolutely.
Jump off and everything.
Yeah, jump off. Absolutely, mate.
I used to rinse on that as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, like around the same time was when I like started listening to stuff like Professor Green. So like that again, and that was Tim, you know, telling me to listen to more UK hip hop. So like listening to him, then listening to stuff like Stig of the Dump, and, you know.
You seen Stig of the Dump, Asher D, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's the
That might have been one of the first battles I ever seen. You know, I remember seeing it in a youth club on a fat back PC, and like Finn showed it to me, and I was like, "Wow, this is it got me so fucking hyped up." I was like, "I need more of this."
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Like I think it almost ruins hip hop music for me, because when I go into something listening, I'm always thinking, where's the bars and where's the punchline? Where's that? I need to just learn to just listen and like take it in a bit more. But so yeah, and then like I say, afterwards, in regards to the Luna gig, it was just surreal sitting down with him and talking about just having like a normal conversation with, you know, someone who inspires me essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was ridiculous. We're hoping to do something in the same vein as soon as COVID shifts. We've got someone booked, and we think we know who we're going to put from the Welsh scene as
exclusive right here, Fuego Radio, and the act is.
I can't say it. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It's completely different to what Luna was. But and the Welsh acts that we think we're going to have supporting like suit really well as well. And I love the acts as well. So
apart from that act you've got booked, who would you most like to book if you could book?
We've actually got a question that's related to the Kenny Cadence has asked if you could pick any 5 artists, duos or groups from Wales to put on a night, who would you pick and why? Which I think ties into what Kai was saying.
I don't know, man. When we plan an event, we sort of try and get it stylistically similar. Like, you know, like try and make sure the acts make sense together.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think you necessarily, but you want to appeal to every crowd as well. But I think putting on, say, a gig with Kenny Cadence and Marino, for example, I don't think that necessarily meshes well together, unless it's sort of like festival setting.
Yeah. What about this then? What about a rephrasing? If you could see a gig tomorrow, 5 Welsh acts, who would you want to see?
Mr. Great, off the back of his project that he dropped yesterday. He's just got banger after banger.
Oh shit, I listened to that actually. I didn't know that.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. Like the energy in it is mad. Yeah, Mr. Great. You guys, because like obviously I've seen you once, and yeah, it was just great.
That was pretty chill set as well for us, to be fair.
A part of me hates that because, you know, like,
I know it was a good game. It was a good fun. Like, I just mean it was quite a chill. It was quite chill setting in it. Like carry on.
Like upstairs in a restaurant. Like, all right then. Yeah. So Mr. Great. You guys, I'd love to see Marino. I think he's really good.
Not familiar actually.
Yeah, Swansea based, I think.
He's from Swansea, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Check him out.
Who else? Lispy, I'd like to see live. I don't know.
One more.
I'd say, probably say Razkid again. Razkid's got like ridiculous, like energy.
Live.
Like so good, but then like, yeah, it's hard to narrow it down to 5.
Yeah,
like,
but
like, yeah, I know.
You can never get it bang on. There's too many good things.
But yeah, like I was having a conversation with Edge a while back, and I said, like, you know, I can't wait for gigs to get started again, just to see everyone. Yeah, like not even on the music side of things, just to see everyone. Because like it's a personal goal of mine to sort of like meet, you know, everyone that we sort of work with or share content or whatever. And like genuinely, there's been not many instances at all where someone's been an arsehole or well, there hasn't been. You know, everyone's genuinely been like a diamond to work with. Like,
yeah.
And then like afterwards, you know, us lot sitting outside that restaurant and just chatting after, you know, those are the sort of things that do for me. Like, so.
Realize how important and good that shit was. Now we've had lockdown as well. You almost breeze over that at the time, and you're like, "Fuck, I don't just miss gigs. Like, that's like a lot of my mates as well." And and meeting a new person all the time and being in a new place all the time. You take that for granted how cool that is as a life, you know.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
We've got one here actually, which I think is going to take a little time for you to decide. So if I say it now, it's Owen O'Davis is asking, you're stranded on a desert island. You can only have one Welsh artist's album with you. Who is it and why? So that's quite a big one.
Probably go with Going Nowhere, Luke RV. Like, that album back to front it is quality. Is like not
strong enough.
So I'll probably go Luke RV, Going Nowhere. I don't know whether it comes across where I've got a little bit biased towards Luke sometimes, but
no, it's solid. The music is solid. You can't knock it. Like,
you can't not be biased. Like, you have preferences. It's
you
like some stuff more and other stuff. It is what it is, and you should talk more about stuff you like more. It's being honest. It's the only way you can curate honestly, isn't it?
That's a conversation I've had before as well. Is like, you're not necessarily gonna like talking about the scene as a whole. But I've seen conversations crop up about like division between certain like areas and whatnot. But like, you're not gonna like everyone. Like, that's life. It is what it is. You're not gonna like the music even per se. But like, I mean, it's really something to be arguing over or beefing or anything like that.
No.
We're still trying to break out as a scene. We're still trying to do bits to get noticed. And I feel like a little bit more solidarity. Maybe I'm reaching, maybe
100%, no, 100%. But that, solidarity, 100%. But that comes with just being completely honest and bigging up people you do like and not people you don't like. And I think sometimes people get it a bit like, I don't like the talk of like, oh, it's a scene, we all got to push each other just because we're Welsh. It's like, no, if I don't like it, I don't fucking like it. But we are our own identity to a degree, which I never really even believed before this year, to be honest. But seeing the amount of music that's come out, I'm like, we are our own identity to a degree, and we should push other artists that we rate, and this be positive for everyone.
Yeah, I think a lot of good things came from last year when we were all involved in that conversation with Horizons, talking about what can be done more to help accelerate scene and help expose it a bit more. And I think a lot of good came from that. And I think, I just think people being a little bit more supportive of each other. I'm not saying go and tag 100 people, because I don't necessarily think that works. But just a little bit of a nudge now and then to help support one another. But like that's the way I say. I'm biased to the scene. I love this scene.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about anyone else. I'm thinking about the scene as a whole. And that's just
right. People like you are important, because artists are just a bit by nature head up their own ass. I don't mean that as a negative thing. It's just you're fucking in a tunnel trying to make good music, sort of thing. You haven't necessarily got the time and energy. So that's why like what you boys do is so good and generous and important. So
I'm like, there are people that do what we do a million times better. Like we're just a small cog on the wheel. There are people that are really pushing. Prendy. I look at Prendy. Prendy does amazing things for the Cardiff scene and beyond. Incredible work rate. And it's helped people get into spotlight. Like look at Benji Wild now, just getting played at South by Southwest and stuff like that, and incredible jobs being done. But I just feel like a little bit more support for each other. That's where I stand.
Shout out Adwives that are playing South by Southwest as well.
Of course. I literally like tunnel vision when it comes to music. To be honest, I don't even listen to like anything else.
Let me ask you this, right? This is a question I'd normally steer away from for just an artist or whatever, but to your mind, is there any like prevailing styles of rap music in Wales, or a style that works particularly well, or a style that's the most prominent? Can you break it down by areas at all, or is it just a bunch of individuals that's too varied to bother talking in that sense?
I think for Wales, it's quite easy. It's almost easy to stand out as original. We're aware we're all influenced by other styles and genres and artists and whatnot, but because it almost seems like everyone's seeing people for the first time, it's very easy to stand out doing a certain genre or a certain style. So I think in terms of, I don't know, if you're looking at other artists, if you're looking at a Stick of the Dot, it's very easy to see you lot as, the Winger Records lot as like the high focus of Wales, I suppose. Then if you look at like Raz Kid, Mace the Great, the grime lot, it's very easy for them to stand out because they are very good at doing it, and in comparison to the likes of Dave, that sort of London-based lot, it's very easy for them to do it. So style-wise, I think there are a lot of people that execute it really good. So I don't think there's a prevailing sound or a prevailing style in Wales. There are prevailing artists that do certain styles.
Yeah.
But like, going back to Marino does like the drill sound very well. Merkage does trap, Livewire does trap very well. Mr. Formula does everything very well.
We've got a bit of everything, really, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got pockets of everything, but the execution of some people, is on another level. That's why we get artists like Mason, Luke, yourselves, up north, like Lizzie Squad and C7's doing certain sounds and whatnot. They're all doing it really well, and having that limelight on them for that reason, I think.
Yeah.
And I think for the younger generation are coming from, I feel like I often get stuck in a generation gap where I look at the people too much that when we first started doing what we do, I sort of get stuck on them. And I don't necessarily look at, that's why when Jem put up that history of Welsh rap, that was really good for me because I think I was naive to the history of Welsh hip hop. And then the generation that's coming up now, I think I often not pay attention to them because I speak to them and I try and give them feedback on the stuff that they're coming out with. But I think I get stuck on a generation that we started with. So it's Luke, it's you guys, it's Ruben, Runic, it's Lizzie Squad. So like I focus a bit too much on them sometimes.
I think that's inevitability with people in music in general. It's like people's favorite albums, they're normally from a certain developmental age in their life, and they like music their whole life, but there's something special about that when you were a teenager at the time. And I think that's just a feature of how fucking we latch on to history in general. So again, you've got to just be yourself, and I wouldn't worry about that too much, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Randy said, thank you, Dave, but when I grow up, I want to be like you.
Don't be like me. Don't do that.
Jaffa has also asked, what was the first Welsh rap release that you ever bought?
I bought one.
I think T-Rev's album was the first one. I've got it here somewhere. It's on one of these windowsills. T-Rev's was the first that I bought. But the first project that I ever listened to fully was Purgatory, Ukabi. And then from there, it was just a whirlwind of like diving into everything. Like those couple of months where we first started, we like really tried to find who was where, and it was great, man, because it opened my eyes to like so much talent. Because it is so untapped, it's unreal. Like it's it genuinely feels like there's a divide between us and the other part of the country. We were saying it with just gigs in general. So Chip announced a tour, and Slow Tie announced one tour and then announced another after that was that had Cardiff's show, but like neither of those two had Cardiff shows or had a show in Wales, and it was like, why? It's not a UK tour then, is it? It's England, Scotland, and
but
tour.
You have to ask which way around it is. Like, are they not bothering to go there, or are people not bothering to show up to gigs in Wales so they don't go there? Because, like, but I've talked to touring artists before that, you're like, why aren't you coming to Cardiff? It's like, I've done Cardiff before, no one fucking showed up. Like, Lee Scott said that, and Jest, like, they've had like shows that have had barely no one in. So it's hard to know exactly where the problem is, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and don't give it, like, when we put Luna on, the audience wasn't what it might have been somewhere else, and I feel like there is an audience here in Wrexham. Maybe it's I don't know, getting the word out properly. I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. But I feel like there's enough of a following of. I mean, you see the influence everywhere. You see how people are dressed. Yeah. We went and shot a little piece of footage with O Davis last weekend or the weekend before on a mugger on like a football pitch, and there were some lads that were watching at the time, and like went over and had a conversation with them. I was like, oh, we're into drill music, you know, we like drill. And they're dressed in a certain way, not to stereotype people, but they're dressed in a certain way. There's obviously an influence.
Yeah.
So it's definitely there. The influence of the music is there, and if you were to put it into their eyes, that there were acts like this that existed in Wales, then maybe they'd be interested in attending a gig. I don't know what it, how to get these people out.
It's an all-round thing. It's creating a culture where you look to down the road and you look to your local area and you think there is quality and you go out and see it. Like there's pockets of it, places where you have a good venue that do a good job of constantly doing that. But a lot of time people are into rap in general. It doesn't even really cross their mind they might be able to go see rap down the road. It's like they might go see fucking Drake in Bristol, but it's never even popped up in their head there might be a fucking gig in Wales with someone like.
There's an element of influence culture though with like the younger generations when it comes to like, like they listen to specific people. So if you got someone like DJ Target or that who's shining a light on Wales, that does so much for the music like he did, but finding someone like yourself, Dave, in Wales who can reach that influencer status, it's a big hill to climb. But I feel like this year especially has really like paved the way for that to happen. And like I think to reach out to these younger generations who are glued to these screens and these short snippets and getting this influencer culture kind of ingrained in it as well, it might help. But I mean, I don't know, what do you think of that? Do you think influencer culture has a place in hip hop?
What was that? Sorry.
Do you think influencer culture has a place in hip hop? Like, the whole like social media faces of social media and all that sort of thing.
I think to a certain extent it's got to in this day and age. It's got to for it to sort of move forward now, because that is the culture now, and I think it'll benefit certain people. It might not benefit, because like again, it comes down to what you want to be and what artist I think you want to be and how you want to live. So yeah, I think those that want to sort of remain at an underground, it won't bother them. But then those that want to achieve a higher status, I think jumping on that ship will benefit them.
Yeah.
And I think there does need to be Charlie Sloth does a really he's become an all rounder in a sense in promoting and influencing certain things. So yeah, I think there's definitely a place for it in this day and age. But whether like I don't know. Like I just try and put it out there as best as I'm a fan. Like I haven't really got a fucking clue what I'm doing, but maybe that's me selling it wrong. But like I'm a fan of it before I'm anything else. I'm not business minded, none of that shit. But I just want to see extremely talented people succeed. You know, that's all it comes down to. You know, I've listened to more hip hop and grime from out of Wales in the last 2 years than I have anything fucking mainstream or you know, anything like that. You know, and I love it more than what I used to listen to. You know, because you can't look at the scene and go and just, oh, they're Welsh and you know they just want to be. You can't look at what's been achieved in the last 12 months. Look at it. Look at.
I've done the same thing, you know. Like I'm probably guilty of looking outwardly too much, and there's a lot of artists I didn't know existed until this year, until I was in my house just on a phone and a laptop, and I wasn't out and about looking outwards. Like, yeah, I thought I was tapped in. I wasn't as tapped in as I thought. There's so many more and so much more talent than I thought, and now I'm the same. I barely get outside of Wales because it's like, why bother? I haven't got through all these big projects yet to even bother going.
And I'm not saying in the slightest that you shouldn't be listening to, like, you know, the acts here on the radio or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're listening to an act on the radio that sounds like a Mace or sounds like a Culture Vulture, you know, you're listening to all these things, and then you come across a Culture Vultures record that sounds exactly the same or, you know, in tune with what you've just listened to, and you completely put it off just because of where they're based, but it's on the same wave, talent-wise, it's on the same wave, sonically, musically, whatever, and you just go, oh, that's Welsh, I'm not going to pay attention to it, then that's bullshit. That is bullshit.
Tell him. I think that's a perfect segue into you doing your top 3 favourite rap releases from where.
Yeah, before we do that, should we play another video just to remind people actually what the quality is like, and then you can have a little think about the top 3 whilst we do that.
Yeah.
So I got this one here. It's Lispy. Sorry, I said Lipsy. That's me done. Right, Lispy. It's called Float. Do you want to just talk a little bit about this video before we go into it?
Yeah, so I understand it's self-directed, self-produced, whatever. And yeah, just Lispy, again, one of those talents that is different to, you know, everything else that you might see going on that's popular or whatever. But just solid artist that you should be paying attention to.
Sick. Well, this is Lispy, Float. We'll play this and then we'll get back onto the interview. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to drop your questions in for a chance of winning a t-shirt. And also, this is Fuego Radio with Dave Acton on Larynx Entertainment and the work he's doing for hip-hop.
Hear what they taught us, guess I was snoozing. The race doesn't end, so I best get moving. The race doesn't end, so spoke apart, take a stroll into my open heart. Struggle for this spot, I'm trying to hold like Rosa Parks. I need to step back, keep my focus sharp. Do it for the love, fuck a plug, think they overcharge. Bad memory, my battery's fried. Early morning working, won't be back till the night. All these bro man habits, now we're trapping our lives. That's why all these crack fiends be packing the pipes. And arrogant eyes blind, still they're running the world. Spit another verse, just a ripple in the works. Get by at the best of times, I'm sinning to the worst. I ain't sipping for a first, I've been spilling on my shirt. And it sure ain't a simple life I'm living. Curse or a blessing, concerned about the lessons left to learn. I'm questioning the world like hell, is heaven just perception never learned? Yeah, heaven just perception, never learned lie. Is heaven just perception? A couple times I fell off, guess I couldn't handle bars. Zands after dark, can't camouflage a battle scar. Wrapping up a hash cigar, something for the appetite. Back at square one's where we at tonight. A better way to spend the day than waiting just to end it. I could rest my head instead of lay awake reflecting. My patience made an exit, and I could say the same about his friendship, but the way that he pretended I could sense it. Separated, I was getting away, but now I'm senseless. I slept, but my resume is restless. I dedicate this to the rest I left. Dying yes to the many that have left us. Said it with my chest up. All these mind games causing migraines. I could fly away, but this ain't my day. Yeah, but this ain't my day. I could fly away, but yeah. I've been finding ways I can try and stay afloat. Forced to letting go, some are saying I won't. I don't wanna leave my home, I just wanna be alone. Said I'm chasing on that feeling when I smoke. I've been finding ways I can try and stay afloat. Forced to letting go, some are saying I won't. I don't wanna leave my home, I just wanna be alone. Said I'm chasing on that feeling when I...
What's your favorite backy?
We're back live and direct with Fuego Radio and Dave Acton of Larynx Entertainment. Yeah, sorry to cut off your interesting conversation.
Dave was just telling us what his favorite brand of backy is.
I smoke Unbelief.
Unbelief, strong winner at the moment, isn't it?
We should have a scoreboard.
What's that?
We should have a scoreboard. We've been asking everyone what back it is. Unbelief's on top, I think.
It's 3-0 to Unbelief at the moment. Tej, Ezra, and Dave.
We need to get sponsored by fucking Unbelief.
It'd be like the Formula One of the 90s. It'd be great. So let's just talk a little bit about this question that you had. So was it the top 3 of 2020?
Yeah, it's top 3 rap releases from Wales from 2020. Dave Acton, let's get it.
So Going Nowhere, you got me. Again, solid album, back to front. Mr. Formula tunes released on the same day, I think. It was like that was like a mad day for like the scene in general. Like there's so many releases, but yeah, that album just having so many features and whatnot on there. We had a chat with Ed a couple of weeks ago, and he said that he wanted to get those features on there and try and make an album that sort of, brought together the scene in some way. So yeah, that's a great album. Well, self-produced and all that, ridiculous talent. Yeah, Brave McGraw. I had a struggle picking his actually, because he dropped like 2 albums last year. But I saw Jesus at the Job Centre. It's like a really good album. That's got one of my favourite like free song stretches. Like I think it's Mouse Hole, 97 Beckham. There's another one as well.
Yeah, Mouse. Well, I haven't listened to it in a while, but the Mouse Hole track, I remember that being banging.
The 97 Beckham track, like the beat on it is like a Griselda proper, like makes you want to go and rob somewhere. And then the bars on it, like Brave, proving himself, like bar heavy before, like he's done battle rap and stuff like that. But then just the transition onto the music front as well, just so good. So yeah, those would be my 3. But yeah, again, like so many good projects last year, great projects.
Has Luke Ivy paid you for promo in this?
Oh, not in the slightest. When are we getting another Winger album? When's that happening?
The Winger album. Ooh, there's a couple. Kai and Hagee, you got one that's probably be approaching fastest.
I'm
It's
loath
not really a,
until they're locked and loaded, ready to go.
but
Oh shit, and it not come out for ages. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, there's definitely stuff in the works. I don't know what'll come first now.
'Cause what was it? We had Hagee, the loose cannon project. That was was that the last one that came out from you lot?
Winner from Culture Vultures.
Well, just from
we had that. We had the Wheeze team thing drop. I'll have to look it up now. To be honest, I've been so out of the loop with it. Yeah, we've had OG Titan Teeth, Sad, the Loose Cannon EP, my EP, the Wheeze team project, the Black Tricks EP, Boofy album. That's kind of the last stuff that's come out.
And Way the Winger 1, that was all in 2020, wasn't it? All those releases.
That's mad. That's mad. It's like that as well. Just seeing like the sort of collectives like coming up and working with each other. So like, obviously you've got the Barber Castle lot and you lot. Like that, your roster is mental. Boofy's like one of a kind artist. Boofy's got that like, and it works so well because of the accent as well. That phonetic accent just works so well. I want to see Boofy's another one that I really want to see. Like, you know, just that laid back, so good. But yeah, like say the collective side of things and people working together, that's a great thing to see.
Yeah, I definitely want to get more stuff like that on the go. I've had the idea of doing like a Winger and Friends album mixtape, whatever you want to call it, and just being not necessarily just roster, but like we could do it with just the roster, or maybe get some features in, but you know, just make a like Hagee's kind of EP, like but on an album scale.
Yeah, that works so well. It's like, you guys mesh so well with so many. I think I'd like to see, like obviously he's just had Twaddle, but double barreled. Tim had Zubat on the track, and I think getting you lot on the track as well. You know, the Culture Vultures, that would work really well. Because you two, I think, in terms of lyricism, I think you two are probably like top 5. Like I'd feel comfortable saying that. I think you two are top 5.
Made me blush.
I've got a question for you, Dave. It's around what Larynx Entertainment is kind of like doing to support artist development. And surely, like talking about lyrical content and like, you know, like having ratings and that. How do you encourage someone who's maybe a little not confident with their bars? How do you get them lifted? How do you support them as Larynx Entertainment to get them to that next level where, you know, their content becomes a little more them, you know? And
so we always lead with authenticity. That's your biggest tool. Be yourself. Don't try and be what you're listening to or be what you're watching. Just be yourself first and foremost. Write constantly, like, and I should take my own advice. Write constantly, and you know, practice your writing. Perform to yourself constantly. Sound like you. Use your natural voice. The Welsh accent, and I had this conversation last night. The Welsh accent is brilliant. You don't necessarily want to be a Welsh rapper. No, that's not what I'm saying to you. I'm saying be you. Don't put on accents. It's a mistake we all make when we're just starting out. We all, or like the majority of people I've listened to when they're just starting out. I did it. I used to put on this stupid growl. Like, it's fucking weird. But like, yeah.
What do you mean by a growl?
I used to put on a growl. I used to like rap with this gravelly like genuinely that's what it was like, and it was fucking stupid. I always tell people to go watch battle rap. I always tell people to go watch battle rap, get an understanding of like like punchline, metaphor, simile, setups, 2 bars and stuff like that. And if that's not the way that you want to go, I generally direct them to someone that is a part of the Welsh scene. So if you're trying to make a drill track, I'll direct you to someone that makes drill in Wales, or someone like that.
I got
Yeah.
That's sick. So I got something, and it might be a little difficult for you to answer. So don't worry if it's not possible. But have you got a particular story of artist development that you've worked with personally that you've just like could talk about? Maybe like an artist that you really have seen grow and develop into something because of the work you've done.
I wouldn't necessarily say that it's because of the work we've done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not an expert by any means, but I think I know what sounds good. I don't know, maybe. So the video of Larynx, have we played it?
Yeah, we played. So the first video we played was Larynx. Yeah.
So Larynx was mad because we were holding, I think it was a voice box / Larynx night in Indigene in Wrexham, which is no longer in anyone creative's hands. I don't think. I think it's fallen into council flat territory. Maybe, I don't know.
Woo! Yeah.
You're kicking. Have you two got control? But yeah. And he walked in and, like, again, not to stereotype, but didn't look like a rapper at all. He looked like a fucking donk MC, and genuinely, and like,
He looked like a rapper. He looked like a donk MC.
he came,
Right, we're taking that as a quote.
yeah, he came up and he was like, "Oh, do you mind if I do?" Because it was an open mic, more or less. And we were like, "Yeah, go on, do some stuff." Me and Tim were standing to the side. We were like watching everyone perform or whatever. And he got up and he was flawless, absolutely flawless at what he was doing. And me and Tim were just stood there like, "Oh my God, like, this guy is gold." So we had a word afterwards. We sort of like invited him into the collective and whatnot. And then later on, so the video that you played at the beginning, Too Little Too Late, that was done by us. And Danny Edwards, who's our camera guy, does absolutely everything, has taught me countless bits that I need to know for like graphic design and stuff like that. Danny's like pivotal to what Larynx does and what Larynx is. Just try and elevate, but we just try to elevate him into, just try and get his stuff out a little bit more and try and give him a bit of strategy and whatnot. But like that's the same thing that we do for, or try and do for any up and cover, really. So some people know what they're doing already, so that's great. We're just reposting the content or whatever, and then like the up and comers, we'll all give them the sort of same advice. There's not necessarily, Larynx's story is similar to everyone else's that we've come into contact with, really.
Wicked. Harry, have we got any compelling questions that are competing for a winner on that?
I got a question from Unity that's just come in, so I'm going to ask that, and then I'll have a little look through. So Unity's asking, what do you think Larynx's role in changing the gender balance in the scene is?
So this is like this is a thought that comes to me on a daily basis. It's like, so we're trying to plan Larynx Life 4 at the moment, and I really want it split down the middle, male, female. I think for us, it's finding that female talent all over the country. I think the pool of talent down south for female rappers is a lot greater than what it is up here. There are some coming out up here. We've got Dempsey in Aberystwyth. We've got Swagger. Where are Swagger, actually? I can't remember where they are. But there definitely needs to be. And I really want female rappers to come out the woodwork, because I feel like maybe there are some that are just not coming out because it might be, it look like male dominance or whatever. But for us, like, we'll continue to treat them the same. They won't ever be a bigger spotlight shone on the men than the women. That'll just be out. It's just how it is. I just think the talent pool is lopsided. there's a lot more men than there is women. And I'd love for that to change. I don't necessarily have the answers to it. So, you know, how do we get more women involved in it?
I guess that's a question back to Unity as well. So, and Unity is going to be on the stream tomorrow, so like we'll definitely talk about that more.
Ask that question, you know, because I love to sort of balance it out a bit more. But for Larynx Live 4, it is looking like it'll be split. If people, you know, confirm when we put it out to them, it's looking like it'll be split, which will be great because it's something that I wanted since we started. Me and Pete have had conversations about it before. Me and Tim were having a conversation about it the other night. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be split, which, you know, I definitely want that. And, you know, an all-female gig as well. I'd love to do that. I absolutely love to do it. Give me the resources to do it and I'll do it.
Where are you planning to do Larynx Live 4?
We're unsure. We want to get about again. But yeah, it's just not what I'd love to do is announce a stretch of gigs all at once. So 4, 5, 6 all together, and I have them all in different places. Harping back to the earlier problem of Wrexham and trying to get people out their houses, that's an issue that we face all the time.
I don't know whether it'd be worth trying to do, obviously, like, we go north and you come south. I don't know whether it'd be trying to meet in the middle, like if we did a mid-Wales gig, do you know what I mean? If that would be a good idea.
There's nowhere in there.
Well, Llanid Lois, something like that.
Yeah. So
in the middle.
Whenever we look at it, we always look where they're from and like how big that talent pool is there. And like you always think, so an artist is going to bring sort of 3 people with them maybe to like, you know, get the crowd at least. That doesn't always happen.
You should make a map of Wales and pin every artist you know and rate to it, and make it like an interactive map so you can just go on and just look where there's rappers everywhere. Then people coming out of the woodwork out of nowhere could link up with people better and find artists. You
should tag all of your artists on GPS and then just watch them 24/7 where they're going.
So I wanted to get in my little corner I wanted to get like a Wales map and just write on it and like see if I can turn that into anything. There was a poster put out I can't remember the name of the artist, but there was a poster put out of poets around the UK. Yeah, and I wanted to do something similar to that. And then obviously the Rap Game UK had you know, the map of, and I'm guaranteeing there's a lot more from Wales that should be on there that have maybe been ignored. I don't know.
Well, you should do it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you probably should.
It'd get ridiculous, wouldn't it? It'd get ridiculous, I think.
Yeah, like...
It's not looking stupid. You'd have to have, like, you click on the town and then a list comes up. Or
yeah, you'd have to sort of organise it very well. Because, in certain areas, it's just ridiculous. Like, I think Cardiff's obviously got a lot going on. Swansea as well. I've got a big lot. Newport, like, the talent pool there is ridiculous now, especially like it seems to be growing every day. Newport, I wish up here would sort of grow a bit more. I think there's a lot of people in the woodwork that don't really know what they want to do yet. I think trying to guide them is sort of where we need to start with that. You know, we need to start communicating with these people, and we do have a group chat, which is the bane of all our lives. Group chats, we do communicate with some of the ones in Wrexham at the moment. You know, trying to figure out what their steps after lockdown are and how we can help them achieve those steps. You know. Yeah.
Harry, do you have the best question? Do you reckon you got a winner? To be fair, it could be one you asked. Just you've asked already. We just need the best question to give a t-shirt.
One that I asked. Yeah, can I have a t-shirt? Nah, I'm
That's a
joking.
good question, Harry. You win.
I'm going for Unity's one, man, because that's the most important question right now, in my opinion, is how do we make it possible? Well, you know, and I know that's a bit like, you know, oh, there's something going on there because Unity's on the stream tomorrow with me. So, like, obviously, you know, there's dodgy dealings, but actually, it's just the question.
Yeah, and that question, yeah, it definitely needs addressing, and you know, there definitely needs to be some thought. And
I think it's probably more of a bottom-up issue than a top-down issue, though, isn't it? Like you said, you've obviously got no bias that you support. You support good music, and it's just a numbers game that there is.
Yeah,
less women than men to a degree.
But then there's also the feeling like that, you know, maybe there is a lot of female or you know, different gender identities out there that are like want to do hip hop but don't feel safe to step forward or confident enough to step forward. So it's not just from bottom down, but maybe also from people's like yourselves creating that safe space for them to step forward and make them feel like they can. Like there is going to be opportunities, and they're not just going to get shot down first time they do it. But you know,
that'll never be the fix. That'll never be the. You know, if you rap and you're in Wales, come to me and I'll have a conversation with you. That's just how it is.
Will you commit right now to doing a gig representing all 20 genders?
Yeah. I don't care if you're a horse, mate. Like, yeah, as long if you.
Just you identify as leprechauns.
Yeah. Come do it.
But
yeah,
you're I mean, like, you're joking about it, but it's such a sensitive issue, isn't it? And like,
so when we were the collective, we had Every Rose on the sort of collective as well. So like, nationwide known poet now. I don't know, but yeah, we had her and mad skill, like ridiculous, but she lent more towards the poetry side of things, and she went that way. But you know, 100%, we would have put gas behind her if it carried on, like, you know. And she's tremendously talented. And if you look at the women that there are performing hip hop and grime in Wales, they're all insanely talented.
Yeah, there's some great talent.
Swagger, like the bilingual aspect of what they do is ridiculous. Dirty Red up here now, come with that like sort of your vibes. To be fair, the Culture Vultures like just that underground. Yeah. Elise the Beast, it's phenomenal, and so artistic as well, because she can, you know, put a grime record like Psycho and then do like some mad R&B shit afterwards.
Big up Rufus Mufasa. She's an absolute fucking monster.
Yeah, another one. I wish there was more stuff from her. And
she hasn't got any music out, so no one really knows. But Cyan, who we've done a lot of stuff with Haig. Haigie's basically made an album with her. She's played a lot of shows with us, and he pretty much fucking dicks us every time we play a show. He's way more fucking just intense and sick at rapping. So hopefully she fucking gets some stuff for her.
Yeah. And of course Unity as well, like Dusty Jules. Was Dusty Jules the name of the project? Or got last year, I think. Well, she got a project this year as well. But
Garden of My Soul, was it the EP?
Yeah, that was this year, when a couple of weeks ago. Project.
Andy's just said you can catch Unity tomorrow on the Raw show as well, 5 till 7 p.m. on Radio Cardiff. Shameless plug from Prendy. But
yeah, get tuned into that. But yeah, I would 100%, like I say, commit to doing a show. Like if you're a leprechaun, you're a leprechaun. If you're a Welsh leprechaun, come on and rap. If
you're an English leprechaun, go back to where you came from.
No, and like I can't think if there's ever been. I think there was a little situation. Why won't you promote? I get messages come through sometimes and they go, "Oh, check out my stuff," and like sort of the first, and it sounds really bad, but the first question is, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm from like Nottingham or Leeds or something. It's like, "Oh, we strictly promote like Welsh hip hop and grime." Like, So,
This is a really interesting one, isn't it? Because like, having started something called Electronic Music Wales, it's kind of like I've built a little glass box for myself, and I'm constantly trying to break that box by like saying it's not just about music from Wales, it's just my appreciation of electronic music and the fact that I grew up in Wales. And like, I guess like for artists who are from Wales, I mean, like seeing that the only people that are going to support them are also from Wales, it's kind of like, you know, that's not what it's about. It should be more like everybody's supporting everyone. If it's good, it's good, and they should support it wherever they're from. But you know, obviously that's not always the case. Like, you actually, there's a lot of emphasis on where you are, and that might also be to do with the way that governments are set up to support their local areas, you know, through funding, but they have certain like guidelines that you have to follow, which you maybe know about because you're dealings with Business Wales and that, like in terms of like having to support your local community, and through that you kind of like you're generating interest in that area. But then when your artists then step up from that and want to start to reach out to further afield, you know, like how do you then market them to that area without trying to say, oh look, we're from this area, and like shutting it down straight away because no one's interested in, you know, that. I mean, it's
a gift and a box at the same time, isn't it? Like, you got to represent where you're from, give love, put love back into it. You also can't be boxed by it.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, you know, the mission statement is to try and I've always said, if we can help one artist achieve something small, that's job done for me. Like, it's just about putting them in a bigger spotlight and trying to give them the props that they deserve and what have you. And it'll never be, I don't know. Yeah, that's just what it is. It's just trying to spotlight tremendously talented people that may not get the spotlight any other time. You know?
Yeah, boy. And, you know, big up for doing it. Like, literally, thank you, from us, like, because you're doing a great job, and it's very selfless, and it's yeah.
We got another. So we got another video to play. So, Organised Chaos. Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this was the second video that we had directed and produced and what have you. We did it with Mike Higgle Visuals. Did a tremendous job on it. Organised Chaos again, like some of my favourites in the scene from up here. Just really good, almost commercial aspect to what they do, but they've got the bars to back it as well. Like, so yeah.
Sick. All right, so this is going in now.
Like they say, time is a healer. Funny thing, time, ain't it? I mean, it's just an agreed upon concept that we all live our lives by. Like, what is time? Does it even exist? I don't know yet. Whatever it is, I feel like I'm running out of it.
Time keeps ticking like, yeah, that time keeps ticking like, yeah, time keeps ticking like, yeah, time keeps ticking like, ticking like, time keeps ticking like, and I'm just sitting by with these worries that are in my mind. It's time that I start thinking like shit. Time is what my father needed. Back when his heart was beating, he was fighting cancer and the doctor said he can't defeat it. Man, it was hard to see him suffering and hardly eating. His lights went out and that's when I felt the darkness creeping. I started feeling like my time was running out too. Like, how do you run away from something that's around you? Stressing out, acting like I had a time limit, which really only limited the life that I'm living. Like, is this all there is to see? Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery. But all this don't mean shit to me, cause it just seems one day everything is gonna turn to dust. In a generation, man, I bet no one has heard of us. I'm working just to leave my prints upon this world, but wondering, is it worth it? Cause I'm certain that the sands of time will cover it. I'm stuck in it, and as weird as it is, we're all slaves chained to something that don't really exist. Like,
time keeps ticking like, time keeps ticking like, yeah, time keeps ticking like, time keeps ticking like, ticking like, time keeps ticking like, ticking. I'm sick and tired of reminiscing, overthinking over every time. I could have tried a little harder, been a little smarter, sharper with my rhymes, but I can't rewind, I can't rewind. I'm sitting and thinking, what if, and what if I coulda, shoulda, woulda, put up a tougher fight? Would I be right here, stood behind the mic? You see, time ain't nothing but a man-made structure. We damn slaves to those hands. Place chains on our hands, maybe that's why it's deemed a luxury. It be the command-in-chief and it runs the globe. And like you, I've been caught up in its hole. Too much overthinking and regrets beyond control. This is our only throw, so every minute go. Know that you never ever get a second go, bro. So I throw those woes in the lesson file. Make the past be present in my future trials and tribulations. Learn from my mistakes and turn the years I wasted to greatness on the Western Isles.
Time keeps ticking like, yeah, that time keeps ticking like, yeah, time keeps ticking like, yeah, time keeps ticking like, ticking like,
time keeps ticking like, time keeps ticking like, yeah, time keeps ticking like, time keeps ticking like, ticking like,
time keeps ticking like, and I'm just sitting by with these worries that are in my mind. It's time that I stop thinking like shit.
Time keeps ticking like, time keeps ticking like, yeah, time keeps ticking like, time keeps ticking like, ticking like.
Sound we're back live. Yes, we're live. Fuego Radio with Dave Acton off Larynx Entertainment. Just back in, going to be wrapping things up. So over to you guys.
Sweet. Well, thanks for joining us, Dave. You're a legend. Nice one for your time. I'm gonna end it out on some quick fire questions, if you don't mind.
Right.
You might recognise it. Greatest of all time.
Eminem.
Best album ever.
Either the Marshall Mathers LP or All Love Lost, Joe Budden.
Or what?
All Love Lost, Joe Budden.
Ah, right, yeah. Favourite track out of Wales?
Favourite what, sorry?
Track out of Wales.
Favourite track? Lost, Luke Abbey.
Yeah. What artist would you most like to work with that you haven't?
Oh, Jesus. It's a toss-up between Swanick and Crazy Jack.
Sweet. If you could swim with anyone, who would you swim with?
Swim!
This was one of Ezra's questions that he asked a few weeks ago, and it's kept going throughout the podcast. So
golden journalism, isn't it?
If I could swim with anyone. What? Someone that's a good swimmer, I suppose. Who's a decent Olympic swimmer?
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps. There you go. I'll swim with him just because I'm not a strong swimmer.
That's exactly what I said as well. But Ez was like going from the angle, like I think he was like, "What attractive woman would you swim with?" Michael Phelps and Danny Trejo, is it? I can't remember his name.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Go on.
Like, what right now? What's the power collaboration that could happen in Welsh hip hop? Like, what is the two people meeting that haven't met yet to create? What in your opinion is the power collaboration right now? Like, you know, the equivalent to whatever, you know, like Jay-Z and
it's
Kanye
definitely
West.
me. It's definitely me and Kai.
I think who might? Don't know, you know. O Davis from Organised Chaos, and it might be Gem, you know.
Huh? Me?
Yeah, it might be O Davis.
Awaken.
It might be that way. I don't know. There's so many. Again, that's a question constantly. It's like, who would make the best collabs?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you guys and Wee's team in a room, that just sounds like romantic to me. Runic and Razkid, Merkage and Marino, That, they all make sense to me. But
you know what I want to hear? Merkage and Boofy. Just because of the fucking extreme accents.
Yeah, that'd make a lot of sense actually.
And Boofy's pretty sick over some trap beats as well. He just hasn't got
We'll give them both a nudge. Get them working together.
Who's your favourite producer in Wales?
Minas. I think Minas could make gold for anyone. Minas could make anyone sound good. Yeah.
How much did you pay Luke RV? Oh no, how much did Luke RV pay you today? That's a question from James Pendergast. How much did he pay you for the plug? How much is it to get my shit plugged by you?
Nothing at all. Just
depends on the clothes on or not.
yeah. Just be nice. That's all I ask. Be nice.
That's wicked.
Right. Well, thanks for joining us, Dave.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me on. I really look forward to wherever you guys are up to next. And hopefully this can be a face-to-face thing really soon.
Yeah, man. For sure.
Sick. Nice one.
That's been an absolute pleasure.
Sure.
Yeah, this is Fuego Radio closing up with Dave Acton of Larynx Entertainment, talking all things hip-hop in Wales. We've got one last video to play, which is Raz Kid's Life is Strange, which I love. It's a wicked video, and also it features Minus on beat, so it's a good segue. We've got a quick interview with Unity tomorrow at 3 p.m. Turns out she's on Radio Cardiff as well, so I'm not sure if that's live or recorded. Might be a rushed one, but it's going to be good, and we'll definitely carry on that conversation. So thank you very much for watching.
Big up everyone. Tune in.
Keep winging in the
Nice
free
one, guys.
Oh yeah, and big up Unity for winning the t-shirt as well, because that is the most important. For me, that was the question you asked me.
Is it a men's t-shirt?
It's a unisex. We thought ahead and we got unisex t-shirts. So yeah, drop me your address and I'll get it sent out.
Wicked and boss. All right, this is Raz Kid, Life is Strange.
Gotta start looking after myself again. Mental health strained, it's about time that I help my brain. I'm sick of starting every new year pissed off, head so empty you can hear a pin drop, all because of the things I binge on. Starting to find it boring, and I could never afford it. Knowing the pain for a small portion is always gonna be more-ish. Willpower is a lot more rewarding. I used to be self-absorbed, now I'm trying to be self-supporting. Life is strange, and I don't feel too good right now. Need a break, need a whole day laying down, hide away until my head comes up around. Mental state, like a carousel, go round and round. Still getting off of class A's, never turn them down. Gotta stop smoking high grade, it only slows me down. Getting myself back in shape's my biggest problem now. Waiting on that really good thing, I really want it now. Gotta start looking after myself again. Wake up feeling confused in days, barely even getting through these days. I never planned on being a scumbag my whole life. For the sake of my soul life, now treat serotonin like a gold mine. Treat happiness like gold dust, trying to savor these moments. Used to drink till I've thrown up, feeling lonely and hopeless. Now I'm Raz Kid, everyone knows me. Rapping, gotta breathe, everyone knows us. Best energy on stage, payback for when no one showed up. Life is strange, and I don't feel too good right now. Need a break, need a whole day laying down, hide away till my head comes out the clouds. Let me stay like a carousel, go round and round. Still getting off of class A's, never turn them down. Gotta stop smoking high grade, it only slows me down. Getting myself back in shape's my biggest problem now. Waiting on that really good thing, I really want it now. Gotta start looking after myself again. Gotta remember I don't always have to feel this pain. Gotta try my best when I try and explain. Can't wait all in vain. Gotta help myself and maintain. Gotta start looking after myself again. Gotta remember I don't always have to feel this pain. Gotta try my best when I try and explain. Can't do it all in vain. Gotta help myself and maintain. Gotta start looking after myself again.